Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. In this segment of somehow all of Bryan's favorite bands are releasing music at the same time, we're going to check out some Periphery, which I didn't even know was on the horizon. P4 doesn't feel like it came out that long ago. I mean, maybe it did, because we checked out Reptile, I guess at the beginning of. Yeah, it's been like 2, 3, 4 years since Periphery 4 came out. Okay, maybe we are due for a new Periphery album. I just didn't think it was gonna happen. um, let's dive into this. We're gonna start with the first one they released, which is Zagreus. This comes off of the album Periphery 5. Gent is not a genre. And maybe depending on how long this goes, we might also check out their other single, Wildfire, which got a music video. This is the longer of the two though, so we're gonna start with it and see what happens. So yeah, let's dig in to Periphery's Zagreus. Interesting. Feels more like Juggernaut era Periphery than P4. Very aggressive, very in your face. Oh. Is that a click track in there? Wood block, maybe? This is like a riff off of Psychosphere. This song is not taking any prisoners. It is just going hard. This guitar riff is from Juggernaut. It's from one of the interlude tracks. love the cymbal work here, the guitar solo. Great flow. This is new. Oh man, this song just went a bit cheesy and I'm loving it. Oh man, that's a twist I wasn't expecting. Very pop rock. Even has the O's in the backgrounds. Oh. No, this is that same. What in the world? Yeah, this is. What is that track? It's the same evolution too. Just, what is that song? That's familiar too? What is that from? What do they do? Oh, I have so many questions. Larger than life soundtrack. Let's go for it. That definitely sounds like it bleeds over into the next track. Alright, there are way too many callbacks. And I feel like all of them came off of Juggernaut, which makes perfect sense given the feeling here. See, this is really interesting. Periphery has gone through phases. P1 and P2 are very much synonymous with the beginnings of djent. Uh, this was also before Mark Holcomb began to. He joined on in the middle of Periphery 2, I think, and he became a writer first time on Juggernaut, if I'm remembering that correctly. And he, as far as I've always kind of felt, is the melodic heart behind Periphery. The other two guitarists are very rhythmic and textural and technical oriented, and he brings a beautiful melodic element to this. And I think that's why Periphery really opened up melodically in Juggernaut and then began to explore more of this melodic element in Periphery 3 and 4. So we have very technical era of them on their first two albums. Then we have the Juggernaut double album, Alpha and Omega, which is, well, up until this point, I would say one of their heaviest albums. Very much like this sound that we have here. They do have a lot of beautiful moments in there as well. There's a couple ballads, but the sound was a lot heavier than it was, and it's a lot heavier than they went into with Periphery 3 and 4. 4 was kind of a mixed bag. We had stuff like Reptile on there. We had Blood Eagle, which was just brutal. But there was also a lot of stuff that was a bit on the lighter side, and Periphery 3 was a lot lighter, especially since they were trying to distance themselves from the djent genre as a whole at that time. At least that's kind of what I perceive out of it. Again, so we have Periphery 1 and 2, and then Juggernaut, Alpha and Omega, and then Periphery 3 and 4. And these are kind of separate areas. I call them the tick and talk of the band, where the tick is where they explore something new, and the talk is where they refine it. And then they tick into another era, and then they talk and refine it. Although I guess it doesn't work with Juggernaut, because Alpha and Omega are just one concept. But then 3 and 4 definitely feels like an exploration into lighter music, and then really digging in and refining that sound down into mixing it with their original sound. This feeling right here, so much of the engineering, the riffage, just even the guitar sounds, to me, harkens back to Juggernaut right from the start. This could have been a Juggernaut B-side, and I would not have batted an eye. Some long-lost track. It does not feel like what they have been writing for the past two albums, which makes sense. I remember watching the documentary. I think it was for Juggernaut. It might have been for P3. And, they said that Juggernaut just took a lot out of them. It was it was a dark album. They just didn't want to do any of that anymore. So they lightened up for P3 and they went for fun. And Periphery 3 has a ton of fun tracks on it. But this is back to that dark heaviness. And so it's kind of bonkers that not only do we have a callback to this sounds, but we have a callback to several instances of ideas from Juggernaut. There was one part where the vocal melody instantly reminded me of a vocal melody that was in, I think it's Psychosphere, the final track off of Alpha. There were two instrumental bits in here. One of them wasn't purely, it started, actually both of them. Nope, the first one started out instrumental to introduce the next section, and then we put vocals on top of it. And the other one came closer to the end of the track. It was one of the last things we heard before we got into the orchestral, larger-than-life soundtrack idea. Both of these come from an instrumental interlude on Juggernaut, somewhere in there. I don't know what track it is. My mind's saying the event, but I'm playing the event. I'm like, no, that's not the same interlude. And I can't remember the name. Anyways, that is definitely a callback to a riff from the Juggernaut album. And the melody line from the vocals is definitely a callback to a riff, to a vocal melody in Juggernaut. And the sound is a return to the sonic texture and characteristics of Juggernaut. I am so stoked for this album. Juggernaut is my favorite album from Periphery. It's one of my top albums of all time. It is masterful, like 90 minutes, I think, of music. There's just no low point on that double album at all. And for them to be returning to that sound is phenomenal. I'm still trying to figure. There was one more reference. Is that what we should call them? A riff that is a reference back to something else. A reference that I think they've played it before. I just can't. Maybe it was off of P4. It was the last thing we heard before we got into the big epic moment. It was like boom, boom, ba boom, something like that. And I can't place it, and it's very annoying. It is like this jingle that I should know, very recognizable. Anyways, we got to move on with this because like right now I've just been gushing about like history and references and connections. What happened in this track? um, Golly, lots of heaviness in the first 3 or 4 minutes of the track. Lots of screaming. We had like four different types of harshes come out of our vocalist. Um, Groove and rhythmic ideas. A lot of the times, our drummer is going to lay down the heartbeat of the song, usually a 2 and 4 idea, on a cymbal. And you can always listen for that and just kind of find the groove. But the snare, the bass, drum, the guitars, the bass guitar, they're all in a completely different groove that is running counter to it. Sometimes we are polyrhythmic, sometimes we are polymetric, and the big difference there is, do things reset within the bar or does it reset across multiple bars? If everything lines back up at beat 1 of every bar, that's polyrhythmic. You have 2 rhythms within the bar. But if it lines up outside of that, it's polymetric. We have 2 time signatures, 2 meters going on. And we hear this all over the place. And the cool thing is, it's often paired with semi-melodic ideas in the guitars where our accented hits are never just like the same. It's not like all pedal notes, and it's not like we always go up to, a third above our pedal note whenever we get to these accented hits. The accented hits, if you remove everything else and just go with the accented hits, you're actually going to end up with a little bit of a melody because they're always different, always moving. Sometimes it's 2 notes, sometimes it's 3 notes, sometimes they rise, sometimes they fall, sometimes they repeat the notes that we had the last time we were in our accented grouping, sometimes they don't. And so it's highly linear when you look at just the accented elements versus the held out notes or the pedal tones in some places. And there was one part, geez, what was this, like 5 minutes into the track, and I was just had no clue of what the rhythm was. It's not even like that was consistent. Not only did we have the moving pitches where our groupings of accented notes were creating, a melody if you focus just on those, but they weren't even coming in at the same time. It's not like it was every 6/8 notes, right? So every 3 beats, we end up with one of these groupings. And the groupings were different too. Sometimes we get 2/8 notes, sometimes we get 3/8 notes, and that would push, how long it would take us to get back to the next. It was just, I mean, this is Gent in a nutshell, right? Rhythmic syncopated ideas with polyrhythmic or polymetric concepts behind it, and that's Gent. It's just math, honestly. It's one of the reasons I'm not a huge fan of just Gent. I need a melodic component to go with it because just rhythmic syncopation is interesting on a first time, but it loses its novelty quickly for me, which is probably one of the reasons I don't listen to Periphery's first two albums a lot. There's some good songs on there, but it's missing that melodic component that they really began to implement later in their career. So aside from this, though, we had like 4 solid minutes of just this gritty, groovy, polyrhythmic syncopation, or polymetric it was both of them, right? Like I said, there's some polyrhythmic, some polymetric concepts going on in here. Then we hit this melodic element, and it was nice, but this is something I'm gonna need a couple more listens on to really figure out what's going on in here. Is that we kind of get rid of all of this and go into a pop punk idea. We just kind of trash all that metal, and we're like, pop punk, let's bring it. So we get this gorgeous, gorgeous guitar solo with this beautiful cymbal work behind it. Really love the way that all the different textures out of the cymbals came out of it. We had tons of different cymbal timbres just from being different cymbals, but then we also had like rim, inside, bell, like different parts of the cymbal being hit, and just a really nice melodic flow in the cymbals alone that went next to what the guitar was doing. Beautiful section. And then we get this really cheesy spoken word line coming in. And then we transfer that into this ridiculous pop punk chorus. And it's just, what? In all the right ways. I don't know how well this is going to stand up for me on repeat listens, but it was something. And I think that's one thing I really like about Periphery is that they do have really serious songs that they write. Sometimes really serious albums. Well, maybe just one. I think Juggernaut is the only one I think that is consistently serious because it's a concept album. Everything else has a mix of more serious tracks and just more fun tracks, both lyrically and musically, and you kind of get a mix of those. Um, but this, we go from something so serious sounding. I don't know about the lyrics. Musically, this is very serious metal. And we bring out some of the cheesiest vocal delivery, both in the sound produced and just that really quick string of like 5 syllables at the beginning of the line, and then bring in the just most generic pop punk ballad music underneath it. Oh man, you can tell they're having fun, and I think that's what matters most. They enjoy what they're writing, they enjoy performing it. It might not land for me, but I'm always fond of bands who do what they want, even if it doesn't make perfect sense or isn't something that is going to stand up to repeat listens or whatever. And I say that for one of my favorite bands. Like I love Periphery, but nobody's perfect, and not everything's going to work for everybody. There's very few albums that are just every note is perfect for you. And I don't expect that out of Periphery, even though I love them so much. So the fact that this section, I love it on a first time. I don't know if it'll hold up just because it is a drastic shift. But then, weirdly enough, we go back into what we were doing. We pull back another riff, another reference, and then we get that. What is that chime? Boom, boom, ba-dum. I don't know. I hope I remember before this video is over. And it fades out on that, right? Man, that's different too, right? It has like different sonic qualities. I don't know. But we move over into this orchestral, epic soundtrack music with these big drums and violins, and like it's all really well done, but it also feels very cliche at the same time. And I'm I'm trying to wonder what was the specific purpose of this because it leans into the cheesiness of the pop punk chorus by being very tropey. And I know they can write really great epic melody lines, and they're intentionally not at this moment. And they're kind of doing a phoning it in idea of epic orchestral music. And I don't know what the purpose is. I'm hoping when we hit the lyrics, I kind of get a little bit of insight into what they're aiming for. But my feeling is serious, cheesy, serious, tropey, and I'm really trying to to come to terms with all this. It might end up being a track I need to listen to a couple of times before I figure out what exactly they're going for. But at the end of the day, I really enjoyed it. It made me scrunch up my face. It made me headbang. It made me laugh. Not many songs can pull off everything like that. So I enjoyed that. Let me take a moment to hit some lyrics and we'll see what's going on here with Zagreus. Why is that familiar? Who is Zagreus? That's Greek, I think. I don't know. Let me hit some lyrics. We'll see what's going on. So this appears to be about breaking free of social conventions, which it states very clearly, repeatedly, that society demands that we be one thing, but a lot of people don't really conform to that very well. And it's what leads to mental breakdowns and midlife crises and identity crises and just really trying to fit yourself into that one square block that the world has said is the right one when there's like 8 other shaped blocks you could go through. Just society says those aren't fine. And I think that that's what this is about, and trying to push back against those conventions and saying it's okay to be something else. I think it's still kind of vague what exactly I think they're trying to say, but I think that's the general gist of it. Um, And the chorus says, tradition of submission starting from the womb. You better watch what you say. They always know what's better, though. Conditioned by their vision, sinking in our tombs. The pressure is always there. We know they want what's best, though. Of course they do. So it's about a ruling power telling everybody else what they should do. And the verses are about trying to break out of that. But then we hit the bridge, and it says, will it ever be? Will we ever live in honesty? Because we're falling apart, you and I. Over and over and over again. This is the pop punk ballady section. And then after that it says, so paint that picture to sleep at night. No regard for another's life will be just fine. Which, the first thing I think of when I think of conforming is the tropey conforming to the man, the suit and tie and the cubicle, and being told that this is the ultimate purpose in life is to throw your life down for your job, which doesn't care about you, and your job is not really great either. It's corporate work, which a lot of corporate work is dog eat dog. The only way to get ahead is to kind of screw over someone else or to know people, which kind of screws out other people who are trying to earn it a little more honestly. So it says we'll just keep painting this picture of only being out for ourselves, and I guess we'll just be fine. It's obviously gotten us this far. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting there. Pulling all of this together, it seems to be our sarcastic. A lot of the verse and that final two sections seem to have a bit of tongue-in-cheek about the realities of life, how they're obviously working just fine, where the chorus is a bit more stated clearly and plainly that, well, even that's tongue-in-cheek. We know that's, they want what's best for us. Of course they do. So yeah, even I think a lot of it's just kind of a tongue-in-cheek, satirical take on modern life and trying to fit in and not being able to be you. Why is Zagreus? Man. Alright, maybe someone's gonna have to let me know what's up with this. I feel like there's some other pieces in here I'm not quite getting. We're at 30 minutes though. I think we're gonna dive in. I'm gonna listen to Wildfire anyways. Might as well do it in front of the camera. I don't know if I'm gonna have a breakdown for this because it's gonna push us way over the time, but when you guys want to watch this with me, I want to watch it. If you're only here for analysis, you can just quit here, I suppose. I'm really interested though, and like I said, I'm gonna watch it anyway, so why not just film it? This is Periphery's Wildfire. Oh, that layered harsh. Oh, that panned chirping, palm muted idea, I suppose. This is the one I was. This is the event.
From the wall
little run in the vocals. Yeah, this is the chorus riff, and it's also the guitar idea and drum idea from the event in Juggernaut. Oh my jeez. I don't understand this. This is some meta self-referent. I thought the video was over. I thought this song was over. Okay. That one I did not enjoy as much, but I'll be honest, as y'all probably know, I'm not really a fan of super heavy music unless there's a thematic reason for it. And Juggernaut, as I've mentioned many times, is a very heavy double album. And a lot of the heaviness works for me because I understand the purpose for it. It pairs well with the lyrics that are going on and the story being told. And I can get behind it for that reason. It's one of the few heavy albums. And it's probably even not that heavy, right? There's some extreme metal that makes this seem tame, but it's heavy for me, okay? It's one of the few heavy albums that I can listen to often because I just really dig the art that they're creating. This song is like the heaviness, and even the first half of Zagreus is like Zagreus. Boom, boom, ba That's Hades. Oh my god, what? So the theme song, there's a video game that came out 2 years ago called Hades, and it's about the son of Hades, whose name is Zagreus, who doesn't want to do what's expected of him. And he's kind of a troublesome teen for his father. Right? His father's not too fond of who he's become. And he wants to venture out and find his mother, who is Periphery, and she has gone back up to the mortal realm. And the whole game is that you're fighting out of Hades. It's really dumb. They named the place and the god the same name. You're fighting out of the realm of Hades to go meet your mother. And the opening theme song of this has that 5-note riff, boom, boom, bottom, 4 notes, right at the beginning. It's like, it's such a, if I had to pick one little jingle from that soundtrack to remember the game by, the soundtrack by, it'd be those 4 notes. And that's where it comes from. And they named it Zagreus, and it's about escaping social expectations. They wrote a song about a video game. What? Oh. Interestingly, though, the lyrics are rather vague. They never speak about anything directly. I think I didn't. I mean, I've read them without that context, so maybe there's some stuff that would pop out to me now, but it reads clear enough that it can be attributed or applied to any situation, um, rather than being specifically about the game and name dropping places and people and events and stuff like that. But that's that's what they did. That doesn't explain the references, though. Anyways, this track, this is the heaviness of Juggernaut without, at least at this moment, the context. Maybe I get into the lyrics and I'm like, oh, this actually ends up, working together very well, right? And I can see why the aggression's needed, and I really like the theme, and then slowly I'll grow accustomed to the heaviness of the music. But as it stands right now, I don't like this one as much as I enjoyed Zagreus. It reminds me a lot of when Blood Eagle came out, which was another one of their primarily just heavy tracks. And I was not very fond of that one either. And even to this day, there's parts of it I'm like, yeah, I can get behind this. But for the most part, it is not one of my favorite tracks off of Periphery 4. That still goes to Reptile. The Reptile's so good. I want to react to that now that I'm doing these long form ones, and really dig into what that track is doing. It is so good. Anyways, so the chorus to this is 100% the event, from Juggernaut. I'm going to pull this up real quick. I don't know how loud this is going to be. So it takes a little bit of time to get into, so I'm going to fast forward a little bit because it's just a slow burn. And I'll let you know when we get to the beginning. Oh, we need to turn this down a little. That's the beginning. Yeah, so that really like heavily segmented moving chord progression, not segmented, syncopated chord progression, is what sits underneath Wildfire. Wildlife, what was that called? Wildfire. So that was kind of bonkers. That is the other of the two. One second. I might as well just check, right? So the other one is Four Lights. I'm pretty sure this is the other instrumental off. Come on. I know I said I was going to wrap this video up, but like I am. So what's going on with Four Lights? This is the riff from Zagreus. And at the end, we go into the low. Nope, before that. This one. This was also in Zagreus. So what is happening here where I feel like I can pull so many elements of Juggernaut out of these two new singles. There were even a couple of lyrics I pulled out. Um, for whatever reason, they were highlighted in the mix. Like the vocals were kind of, mixed normally. And then these two sentences, they were like back to back almost, really close together, I think. And for whatever reason, they popped out of the mix. And the first one says, probably helps if I knew where I was looking. It says something about, right here, verse 3. It says, it feels so low, the love I've known, floating on my own, forward, back. It's all the same now. This is a one-way road. It repeats some of this. It feels so low, the love I've known, floating on my own, slow or fast. It's all the same now. Somebody do it slowly. Kill me slowly. So that's why they were both brought out. They're both the end of this verse, which makes sense why they both had the same uh, production on them. Anyways, this is a one-way road, and kill them slow rather than kill me slow are lyrics that pop up in two different songs on Juggernaut. It is the demon talking to him as he's going to get revenge on the people who merged his soul with this demonic soul. And he knows that going to commit this mass murder is a one-way road. It's going to lead to worse and worse things. But the voice keeps telling them he needs to get his revenge. He needs to kill them slow. Why? Why are there so many callbacks to Juggernaut? What is going on with this album? We have Riff-erences. We have Lyrical. That one does not work as well. I gotta wrap this up. We're working on like 48 minutes. I don't even know at this point. I don't. I'm so flabbergasted. I love that word. It's just kind of weird. This was released on January 2nd. Both of them were. That's my birthday. Thank you, Periphery, for some really great birthday presents. Is that true? Yeah, January 2nd. Wow. Well, that's when they released. Oh, no. January 2nd. All right. Yeah. Great birthday presents. Those are my thoughts on Periphery, Zagreus, and Wildfire. We didn't really go into a deep analysis on Wildfire, but still kind of pointed out some Easter eggs there, and I hope that kind of makes up for it. Otherwise, we would have been here like another 20 minutes. And maybe y'all want an hour-long video, but I'm kind of hyped out right now. I'm kind of overwhelmed by all this. They wrote a song about Hades. What? Oh man, I didn't play very many new games. I don't play very many new games at all anyways, because like I have a massive backlog and I don't have time to play that, so I don't usually buy new stuff. But I got gifted Hades, and I played it the year it was released. Like one of the only games I played in its release year, and they happened to make a song about it. Sometimes things are coincidentally interesting. Anyways, let's wrap this up. Those are my thoughts on Periphery's Wildlife and Zagreus. What did you think? Anything you'd like to add on to what I said? Correct me on, give me your own thoughts and opinions, your own perspectives on. Let me know down in the comments. Are you stoked for this? I don't know. I don't know how many Periphery fans are in the community. Um, I can't wait for this album. I can't. I hope it's not all super heavy like this unless they have like a theme, like with Juggernaut to tie it all together, because I think it's going to go a bit over my head. It's going to bounce off of me a little. I'll have to like try to meet it on its terms, and like that's hard to do for heavy stuff. Um, Above the comment section is a description box. In there's a link for Linktree. This joint right here is what you'll see when you click on it. You can find links to my email. You can find links to the music I've made. You can find a link to the Discord server. You can find ways to support the channel and so much more. Go ahead and check that out. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Greatly appreciate all three of those. That wraps it up for today. We got an album review tomorrow, the live stream on Sunday. I'll be back Monday. Man, it feels like there's just no rest. I promise I'm taking care of myself, though. I'm not gonna burn out. I haven't burned out in 4 years. I take breaks, you know? It just doesn't seem like that when I list things out this way. Monday we'll be back with next week's theme. We're going to be comparing two types of things and seeing how they compare and contrast. It's going to be a 2-week theme because we're going to have 10 videos because there's 2 videos per each of the thing, compare and contrast, right? So that's how that works. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.